lands and its people. And now I'll ask everybody to stand for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, here on the sky, cattle bicycle, this world that we says Lord, stand on. Yeah, these land on.
So welcome again, everybody. It's nice to see everybody. It's always nice to see our, I guess, is it audience full, if that's what we call it. So thanks, everybody, for coming out. Are there any additions to the agenda this morning?
No additions from administration.
Perfect. Is there a member of council that would like to adopt the agenda as presented? Councillor Clark, all in favor? That is carried. Oh, are you okay?
Those long legs.
There's a step there. I'm not sure if the chairs are a bit close. Are there any corrections or amendments to the October 26th regular meeting of council, the October 26th organizational meeting of council? None. Is there a member of council that would like to adopt these? Councillor McGee? Thank you very much. All in favor? That is carried. And we have no proclamations this morning, and we will jump into our public hearings. So our first public hearing this morning. Good morning, Jarek. Just have to find it. It always takes me a bit to shuffle through. So our first is a non-statutory public hearing. I will declare the public hearing open at 9:05 a.m. for development permit application DV22-051. Those present today for the public hearing are myself, administration, council, members of the community, as well as everyone online. The purpose of today's public hearing is to receive comment, questions, concern from the public regarding the proposed setback variances for a deck at 5233 45th Avenue. Administration has received a development permit application for an existing deck at 5233 45th Avenue to bring into compliance with the current land use bylaw. Development permit DV22-051 seeks to reduce the side setback for a deck from 1 meters to 0 meters, permitting the structure to abut the eastern property line. A decision on these applications may be made today, depending on the comments received at this public hearing. Notification of this bylaw requesting comments from the public and advising them of the public hearing has been provided in accordance with the Town of Drayton Valley Bylaw 2018-07A. This is our electronic advertising bylaw. To facilitate the public hearing process, any comments received, either written or verbal, will be presented today as a package or at the time of the public hearing. I will now call for comments from administration.
Good morning, Your Worship and fellow council members. Pertaining to today's public hearing regarding the variance request for development permit DV 22-051, a deck at 5233 45th Avenue, administration has received no comments from the public back, neither in support nor opposition. Administration's comments will be delivered as part of the subsequent decision item pertaining to this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I'll now call for comments from the floor. Any comments? Yeah. Good morning.
Yeah, I bought that house, I don't know how many years ago now. It's been a rental and now I sold it to my grandson and his wife. I just got a real property report on it and those issues come up. But, you know, the deck's been there forever. And it goes right to the property line against the neighbors, but I just don't see where there's a problem because that fence is so high between the neighbors and us. It'd be, you know, quite a job to take the deck down and move it and.
And that's it?
Doesn't obstruct anything. I think it's maybe 2 inches over the property line. Space there, alley and the property, and it doesn't interfere with anything either. The other comment on that. Setback was at the property line in the alley a long time ago. And now it's changed. So that, my understanding, should be grandfathered. Like, go down the alley and there's, you know, 3 or 4 sheds that are right to the back of the property. That's all I have to say about it.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. I'll now call for any comments from anyone online. Nothing, Nathan? Oh. Okay. We apologize, Kathy. The microphone is on, so. Thank you. I will now declare the public hearing closed at 9:10 a.m. and we'll move into our second non-statutory public hearing. I declare this public hearing open at 9:10 a.m. for development permit application DV 22-049. Those present today are myself, administration, council, members of the community, as well as everyone online. The purpose of the public hearing is to receive comment, concern, and question from the public regarding the proposed setback variances for a storage shed at 5233 45th Avenue. Administration has received a development permit application for an existing storage shed at 5233 45th Avenue to bring into compliance with the current land use bylaw. Development permit DV 22-049 seeks to reduce the rear setback for the storage shed from 1 meter to 0 meters, permitting the structure to abut the rear property line. A decision on these applications may be made today depending on the comments received at the public hearing. Notification of this bylaw requesting comments from the public and advising them of the public hearing has been provided in accordance with the Town of Drayton Valley's bylaw 2018-07A, our electronic advertising bylaw. This is to facilitate the public hearing process. Any comments received, either written or verbal, will be presented as a package at the time of this public hearing. I will now call for comments from administration.
Morning again. Pertaining to today's public hearing regarding the variance request for development permit DV 22-049, a storage shed at 5233 45th Avenue. Administration has received no comments from the public back, neither in support nor opposition. Administration's comments will be delivered as part of the subsequent decision item pertaining to this application. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you very much. I'll now call for additional comments from the floor. And you did make a comment as well regarding this one as well, so thank you very much for that. I will now call for comments from anyone online. None? Okay, I will declare the public hearing closed at 9:12 a.m. And before we move into our delegations this morning, I just want to take a minute to recognize that November is another busy month. It is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It is Fall Prevention Month and Lung Cancer Awareness Month. November 14th is World Diabetes Day. November 20th is National Child Day. And November 30th is Stomach Cancer Awareness Day. Special days, weeks, and months really help to strengthen cultural awareness, remember historic events, and inspire residents to take action or get involved in these important causes. I also believe that November is Movember, mental health wellness for men. So that is very, very important. I've seen some things go up on Facebook that are raising awareness, so that's always fantastic. And I see members of council are growing their facial hair in support of that. Is it either that or hockey? I'm not sure, but I think that's what it is. So that's fantastic as well. These are all important days, and I think that it's always important for us just to take a few minutes and to be checking in with one another to see if anybody needs help or support and just how everybody's doing. So I just want to take a minute to acknowledge those, and we'll move into our delegations this morning. Our first delegation is 7.1, Drayton Valley Mighty Learners. Welcome, good morning. So I'm not sure if you want to come stand at the podium or if you'd like to come and sit down. You can have either option. You can stand, okay? Just make sure that the microphone is on.
Honorable Mayor Nancy Dodds, Town Councilors. I'm too short. Okay, Town Councilors and guests and town employees, good morning. Thank you for including us on your agenda and for giving us the opportunity to introduce our community initiatives. Thank you again for the approval of our zoning, and special mention to Lola for giving us a very good reference. We do appreciate that, Lola, and for all your support. 2 years ago, I tried to convince a very close friend of mine to open a daycare center, to help me open a daycare center. But because of our busy schedule, it did not happen. However, on the good side, 2023 will be the year since I found an excellent partner for this mighty center. It is my great honor to introduce the two wonderful people with me for our founders, our co-founders of the Drayton Valley Mighty Learner Center. As some of you knew Paul is our president for the Drayton Valley Multicultural Association for 3 consecutive years now. He is married to my cousin and blessed with 2 wonderful children. And Paul is connected with Complete Supplies and FireSafe. He's also my business partner for the R. Labouchere Property Management Limited for 12 years now. Paul will be our finance officer for the Mighty Center. And since you don't know Jasmine is from Edmonton. Let me tell you about Jasmine a little bit. Let me give you a brief background about her. She's a woman of virtue and simplicity. She is an inspiration to the young children and family in Drayton Valley. We are so lucky to have her as our co-founder of the DVMLC. She is a loving mother of 2 young children and dedicated childcare enthusiast for the past 15 years. Jasmine holds a Level 3 Early Childhood Educator Certificate and an Adult Education Certificate. Jasmine was the executive director of the Little Einstein from 2007 to 2013. She received Rising Star and Employee of the Year awards consecutively within the organization. She worked with children with special needs through transitions and community options. Currently, she is managing and training the childcare orientation courses in Alberta, Nova Scotia, and Northwest Territories online for almost 10 years now. She is in constant search for self-development and give back to the community. Her knowledge and skills as an early childhood educator, coupled with her passion and love for children, and make her an excellent executive director for programs and development in our organization. Without any further ado, I would like to call Jasmine to show us our PowerPoint.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. Good morning. Nice to meet everybody.
Good morning, everyone. Please pardon me if I stutter. This is my first time speaking in this setup in public. As Ate said, that I've been teaching online, so my main conversation is at the computer. So good morning, and again, thank you for having us, and thank you for welcoming Mighty Learner Center in Drayton Valley. I am very fortunate to know Ray. Ray is very loved in this community, and so is Paul. And though I'm from Edmonton, I've been traveling here back and forth just to get everything set up. Whew. Sorry.
Don't even worry about us. Just relax. It's great.
All right. So Drayton Valley Mighty Learner Center is a nonprofit organization envisioned by mission-driven board of directors, Ray Labashir, Paul, and myself in early 2022. As the product of Alberta Children's Services initiative to open more nonprofit daycares in communities that are in high needs. I forgot I have a PowerPoint. There you go. And our mission and vision is to, of course, provide safe and secure home away from home, which is a nonprofit, high quality, affordable, accessible, and inclusive to promote the child's needs and individuality. We promote developmentally appropriate child-centered approach to hone their social, emotional, physical, and cognitive development. Why childcare? Ray's background is business. My background is childcare, and she has a very good relationship in the town and the community. And because Drayton Valley is one of the communities that has been found to have the needs for childcare, that is why we opened the Mighty Learners Center in Drayton Valley. Correction, we are not opened yet. We will be opening, and we are in the process. Aside from the needs of the community, there are also a long waiting list for the current facility-based childcare center here. Not only that, a waiting list in family day home, approved day home agencies, and innovative childcare. And Mighty Learners will open most of the spaces for them. And thirdly, obviously the childcare center could open job opportunities for the residents to find them a fulfilling and noble profession as early childhood educators that can give back to the community and children and families. As Walt Disney said, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So I guess I'm gonna end my little speech here. And again, thank you for being very welcoming and supporting our initiatives.
Thank you very much. You did a fantastic job. Are there any questions? Councillor McGee?
Sorry.
We'll have a few questions for you if you'd like to answer, please.
So what comes to my mind is, and it may be way too early, is how many children would you like to have and expect? Second thing is the age limit and then the hours of operation, if it's after-school care, those kinds of things. I think everybody would be interested in that. And then, of course, where are we going to place it? Where are you thinking? And you may not be ready for any of those questions, and I'm fine with that.
Absolutely. I do have some answers to some of your questions. We are potentially opening 44 spaces, so 44 children in an old, Ataray, maybe you can help me here. Is it Affinity? The old Affinity building is where we are planning to locate our Mighty Learners Center. And we are planning to open in late January or February. And we will have 6 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night as our opening hours or operation hours.
If there is a need for Saturday and Sunday, we will be open as well, depending on how many children, because it will be expensive for the employee to bring employees, right? For only 2 or 3.
And aside from that, the age group would be from 0 to 6 years old. We won't have the out-of-school care because the affordability grant that we are going to have from the province only caters to from 0 to 6 years old for now. But we're pushing forward to get the out-of-school care included as well.
Plus, we don't have the space.
Yeah, and yeah, there you go.
Plus, we don't have the space. So in the future, maybe we will be renting a school, like a classroom, to open the OSC.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Great news, and I think I haven't done any research on this, but my expectations are is that there is a great need, and we're happy you're here, and look forward to your opening. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much for that. Any other questions? Councillor Clark?
Yep. So you indicate you have roughly 44 kids. How many staff would you guys be carrying?
We will have 8 staff on the floor, and we will have the program supervisor, the program assistant supervisor, myself as executive director, and Ray as the chief officer.
Yes, well, this is very exciting news. I think that we're well aware that there's a waiting list at the current facility that we have, so it's nice to see that we have another one that's opening. There's definitely a need in the community. It's nice that your hours are going to be till 9 p.m. That allows, that extra few hours if somebody needs or they're working, a little bit later. That's fantastic. And you're starting at 6 a.m., employing 8 staff, which is great. So we look forward to the opening. And if there's anything that you need along the way, be sure to reach out. And we really appreciate you coming in today and sharing this business venture with us. And we look forward to seeing it filled. Do you currently have a waiting list, or are you creating a waiting list? Yes, you do?
We do, yeah.
Oh, wow.
We have about 40 kids already, so we
Oh
don't
my
really need
goodness.
to advertise a lot.
Okay, wow. Well, that's fantastic. Very good to know. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, thank you very much. And we look forward to January or February, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Moving along to our second delegation this morning, 7.2. We have Mr. Curtis Buchan here this morning, so you're more than welcome to come on down to the chair or stand at the podium. Okay. Yeah, we have a few counselors away today, so.
All right. Good morning. Yeah, I was going to basically say I love being called a delegation and excuse my lack of formality because this is my third time up here, third project that we've been involved with the town. And you know, first being the outdoor rink, second being the first phase of the disc golf course, and then now the expansion. So to give everyone a little background information, 2019 is when I discovered disc golf, and in 2019 I had no idea what it would or could become. And so we built the first 9 holes out at the Pembina Nordic Ski Trails. Then as we found out it was popular, we built another 9 holes. And then we thought, hey, like, you know, a lot of people are coming out here, checking this out. And, you know, an easier kind of more beginner-friendly course would be something that we should, you know, be interested in. We built the 9 holes in Ivan 2 Park. And at that point, you know, we thought, you know, our job's done. And so now, I believe it was September was our busiest month ever out at Ivan 2 Park. And how it works is there's a little app on your phone and you can score your rounds. So for the people who are really serious, they'll score their rounds. And it's called UDisc. And UDisc actually gives everyone like kind of a number so that when they come in front of town councilors or city councilors, they can tell them how many rounds approximately that they have played out there. So UDisc had 690 rounds scored. UDisc's approximation is that 10% of people score the rounds, which means approximately 6,900 rounds were played at the course in Ivan 2 Park in September, which is about 230 rounds a day. So for the citizens of Drayton Valley, you're getting 230 rounds for something that requires no maintenance other than the current maintenance that was done already. It requires no upkeep to the baskets unless something is wrecked. It can sit there for 20 years. It's public use, so anyone can play it. And I think it's a huge win. So anyways, that's where we're at now. And what we're proposing is another 9 holes to the current layout. Now, this 9 holes being different than the last 9 holes. The last 9 holes were paid for by the DV Hospitality and Tourism Association. So it was at zero cost to the town. This new 9 holes will be more costly because what I'm doing is I'm proposing that it goes in between the, it hooks onto the current course, but it goes in between the Omniplex and the park there in the kind of wooded area. In the 3 pages I showed you, there's the image of kind of the proposed layout. So in the new proposal, basically, we're going to have to clear trees. We're going to have to, you know, mulch the areas. We want to make it so it is easily maintainable so that when the town employees go to, you know, mow it, that it's not going to take a large amount of time. And so I've got it listed out, the expenses that I believe will get us to another 9 holes, and it comes to about $29,500. There is opportunities for fundraising to help reduce this amount. The $29,000, I know for a fact that I can sell 9 sponsorships to baskets, which would go for about $1,000 a piece. We put their name on the sign at the hole, and we put their name on the basket. And honestly, I've got people already vouching for those sponsorships if I can get this done, if the council accepts the proposal, which would bring it down to $20,500. I know DVHTA might be willing to give some money as well. I know they're typically events-based funding, but I think they have a vested interest in this because they were the ones that did the first 9 holes. The other thing that the council, I'd like the council to consider is that there will be additional maintenance to this. The first 9 holes went into currently maintained park, so there wasn't any additional maintenance. This is going to go into something that isn't maintained, and so it will be additional maintenance costs to the current staff. So I'm kind of estimating that at kind of like a monthly mowing that at about 3 to 4 hours of mowing and about $150 an hour, that the cost to the town would be about $3,600 extra a year to maintain that. That's very rough estimates, but it's just something, I really wanted it just to be on the council's mind that while accepting the proposal, there's costs up front, but there's going to be costs yearly to maintain this one, where the other one there wasn't. Now, the last thing is why? Why would you do this? Why? I mean, there's the obvious part, why to put this thing in there when we already have 18 holes here and 9 holes there, and you know, it does get used a lot, but you know, maybe that's just the way it is. But you know, why would you add more holes? And so there's the portion of, you know, serving the community. And so I like to always say, why go above and beyond? You know, like, why do something better? You know, why continually improve? And that's why we're going to do it for the town, is so that we can make it better. Everything we can do to make our town better is something, and if it's in our ability level, why not do it, right? And the risk involved in this is very low. We're not talking about building some huge facility. It's a $20,000 thing, and we already know it's going to get used. It's, you know, the question is, you know, does the usage wane over years? Is this a flash in the pan? That type of thing. But I'm confident it's not, and I'm confident it's low risk. Also, we've been seeing people coming to Drayton Valley from across the province. We could share proof with you from our tournament, which gets people from all the way down to Lethbridge, Calgary, all the way up to Grand Prairie. And we see weekly visits from those people. Now, if we have 2 18-hole courses, this becomes more of a destination in the disc golf thing and more of a staying, you know, people have more interest in staying in our community and saying, hey, I could go play 2 courses and stay those, you know, maybe go and stay the night and then go play them again the next day, or play one day and play the one the next day. And so seeing our community grow, and people say, well, is it a tourism thing? It's not a tourism thing. What it is every time someone comes here and enjoys their stay, they're going to consider moving here, right? They're going to consider this to be their home. And that's the biggest thing to me, is that we got to look at when we need people to come be part of our community, and we want people to come, like, make this their home and, you know, and grow the community. We have to think to ourselves, what can we offer? And that's, I think, the biggest thing. When we get people to come, we get to say, hey, we went there, we enjoyed their courses, we enjoyed their bakery, we enjoyed their new aquatic center. You know, what are we doing? Why are we, you know, living in Lethbridge? This place is way better. So anyways, that's the reason why. And I guess I'm open for questions now.
Well, thank you very much for that. We appreciate you coming today. For those of you that are online, we did have an addition in regards a map of the proposal, and it is just, excuse me, south of 45th Avenue is the new proposed area. So are there any questions for Curtis this morning? Go ahead, Councillor Evans.
Just curious, how comfortable are you with the 20,500 to develop it? I'm thinking that if you're brushing through there, you want to end up with a park-like lawn, if you will, through those holes. So you have to take down all that timber. You're saying you're going to mulch it up. Any stumping, like, are you going to have to go through there with a hoe, pull the stumps out, lay
The
down?
mulch will take care of that. We've walked it, and the mulcher itself will, like, basically any of the trees that we need to lay down, we're going to have a arborist come and lay down, and he's already looked at the area to say, you know, it's going to be, he figures about a max of $4,000 to lay down the amount of trees that we've given him, and then the mulcher will mulch those up. Now, this will be the 4th 9-hole that I've done, and I've seen how fast the mulchers can work. I figure in 3 days we can have it to a well mulched kind of, you know, where we feel like it's got no more stumps, no more trees, anything like that. Was going to say, then after that, I put money in there to remove any of the debris from the mulching, because after the mulching, typically there's lots of twigs and sticks and things like that. So I feel very confident. I've ran now, this will be with the outdoor rink. I was the president of the association to the outdoor rink. And how I run projects is I give a number and then I talk to my subs or whatever you want to call them. I'm hoping that the town will be the one that's paying these just through safety and all that stuff. But point of the story is I tell them, this is how much money you have. If you hit that number, stop. So if you're asking me if you want to give me more money, yeah, we'll take more money. But can I do it for this amount? Definitely. It's 100% doable. Now, can we make things better? Like you said, yeah, for sure, we can make it even better. But I'm very confident that for this amount, we can make it. Now, is it going to be, like you said, a lawn? Maybe not a lawn, but it definitely something that a mower will be able to drive over quite easily and go through there. And we'll make sure that all the access points are mower available, sort of things.
Mower friendly?
Yes, mower friendly.
Yeah, I guess that was my only concern. If you're going through there and mulching, and I realize the mulchers can do a good job, just is it going to end up being something that we can roll our mowers through without any issues? So if you're confident with that dollar amount and you can get it done, then you've answered my question. Thank you.
Councillor McGee?
Curtis, thanks. Recognize your abilities. I'm going to ask you a few questions, but the first question is the course that's out at the Pembina Nordic Trails. What kind of numbers are you getting there?
We're getting similar but less than the town course. So I would say the town course is mainly used by the people that are from the area, like so the Drayton Valley Tonians. And we're kind of going through, this has been a real change because what's happening is that's the best course to learn on. So people are picking up the sport, they're playing there. And then I'm noticing as they're kind of getting better and better and making it a hobby of theirs, then they're headed out to the trails to try their hand at the harder course. So the course out of town gets more plays from out of towners because it's very highly rated course. And we see, we get recommended. So the EDGA, Edmonton Disc Golf Association, if someone asks, hey, I'm coming up from Calgary, where should I play? Usually they tell them to make the trip out here. So we get a lot of people driving through. They'll kind of be on tours where they're doing different courses, and that's the one they'll play. They usually don't play the one in town because they're looking for the challenge. So it's right now it's close, but the one in town is definitely outpacing the one out of town. I would say we see about 2,000 to 2,500 plays out at the one out of the trails. It's but like I said, it's changing, it's evolving as we go along. And there's definitely a portion of it too that there has to be a kind of a community involvement. So we run junior programs, we run league nights, we run beginning to play programs. We'll let companies go out and show companies, they'll come out with their company, we show them how to play, things like that. And I think as long as we continue that community, then the courses will get used. If we shut that down, I think that's when we'll see a decline.
So have we received any complaints on the first nine and any discourse out there that I may not be aware of?
So yeah, the first nine, we definitely, the first one, before we put it in, we saw a couple of homeowners that were really worried about it. And since that point in time, one of the homeowners just came and apologized to me and told me that they thought that this was the best thing for that park, and they completely changed their tune and bought some discs. So it was really good. It was a win. I think if we do put this in, I think we should notify the residents that back onto that green space so that they have a realization. I think with the way we designed the course, we really focused on keeping it from interfering with the people's backyards. And so I think the people that have are adjacent don't have too much disruption, which I think helps them. I think I want to choose my words carefully, but it has reduced the amount of negative usage of the park from some people that would maybe use some of the trees as kind of an area to store or stash things. Now that people are constantly through there, they don't see as much usage negatively in there. So I think it would be a win-win where the usage in this current space is mainly, you know, there's a lot of garbage, there's bikes in the creek, there's, you know, strip cable, things like that nature. And I think if you have people going through that area, it'll reduce that usage. Now, it's not going to remove it because they're just going to go somewhere else. And so it's not a solution to the problem. It's just, I think as far as the neighborhood looks at it, it's going to move that problem away from them. So,
Good. Maybe a silly question, but do we actually own that land?
I believe so.
Do we? Okay, that's the answer. We own the land. The other piece is that it's a beautiful piece of property, actually, with that creek. And so my vision is the golf, but then beside it, you can walk through that forest, and so you could either share it with the golf, or we could make our own paths, or you can project forward. It's just an outstanding area. You've got 4 bridges there that cross, and you can do that crisscross. And right now, I assume people walk everywhere because the course now is wide open, basically, right?
So if you look in the back, there's a UDisc kind of state of the game on there. And one of the things it says is that I believe it's a high percentage of disc golf courses are in public parks. So disc golfers generally share space with park users. So say Rundle Park is one of the oldest disc golf courses in Alberta, and it's right in one of the busiest parks in Alberta. So, people are disc golfing, there's picnickers, off they go. So your vision, I think it's awesome. People would be used to sharing that with walkers if you want to open it up to kind of a grander project, I think it'd be great, if it's if that's something you guys are interested in.
That may only be the width of what you mow, and
Yeah.
on the other side of that, we are considering making the DeBeep lands up on top of the hill by the Shangri-La Lodge fire safe. So we've talked about getting somebody in to do that mulching.
Yeah.
And there's talk of maybe even doing it sort of over the winter or fairly soon. I don't think we've decided that, but what's your timing?
If that was another thing, I didn't want to speak to too much, but yeah, that we would be ready as soon as you guys are ready. So if this is a decision you guys want to make, having this be like in conjunction with the mulching that's going on for the other lands, if you guys want us to be ready, the only thing that we need to get done first is we need to get the arborist in to drop the trees first before we do the mulching. So as far as layout, we could have layout done within a week. And I guess the other thing would be we'd have to first call it as well because there's ATCO lines in there. So we'd have to put a first call in, we'd have to get an arborist in, and then we'd have to lay it out, and then we'd be ready. So, worst case scenario, few weeks to a month, we'd be ready. So
Nicely done. Thank you.
yeah, for sure.
Councillor Clark?
Yeah, I view this as a pretty low risk thing for the town to take on. And appreciate the efforts you're putting in for, to bring it to fruition. I do have a question for administration though. From a risk perspective, do you guys feel there's any risk to the town? I'm having a hard time thinking of anything.
Thank you for the question. And so one of the walkthroughs through the area was with our Parks Department already, so our lead hand. We did the walkthrough together. So there's no risks. They are looked at in the sense of, let's say, the creek in there, the amount of water, the snow dump, which is on the outskirts on that area as well. So there's no risk, additional risks to utilize this as proposed.
That's fantastic to hear that you've done the walkthrough already, and I was just going to ask that question if you've obviously done the walkthrough and layout and had your vision there, but it's nice to know that the town has also done that to look at kind of the proposal as well. So with this, kind of going back to the app, how does the app work? So a person would download it on your phone, and then is there a place like you put in your name and then you put where you're from, and is that how you are able to track that?
Yeah, exactly. So the app doesn't give me specific details on people. So I get designated to be the course manager because I laid it out and I GPSed all the holes. And so what happens is it's very universally accepted. So you go on this app, and then if you're going to go play, you just create a scorecard, and it says, well, you're the nearest to the Ivanhoe disc golf course, and then you put on who you're playing with, so 3 friends, and then as you're going along, scoring your round, I got a par, I got a bogey, you go around and then you score it, and then once that score is been entered, then you just says that, okay, 4 plays were done on this app, and they just give me numbers, just basic, this many plays in this month, this many unique players, and they have their own statistics they share about, how many courses are being built, how many rounds are getting played. If you look near the back of the proposal, you can see some of the astronomic growth of the game. And like this one here, it's got, from 1970 to 2020.
We don't have that, Curtis. There was a couple things you were referencing that we don't have.
Oh,
Just
okay.
the 3 pages.
Oh, okay. So, you didn't get the whole proposal. Okay, I'll send the whole proposal
Okay,
over.
yeah, that would be great if you could.
Yeah,
Thank
sorry,
you.
guys. I didn't
That's okay.
realize, but yeah, it's an awesome little read. It's got, the state of the game. We're not alone in the growth of disc golf. It's worldwide. It's growing, like I said, astronomically, but some of the most popular places are the Scandinavian countries, in Finland, Iceland, Estonia, Norway. They're literally covered in disc golf courses because they can play it in the winter. They even have an island that's called Åland. It's a disc golf island that they've. It's a country under the operation of, I believe, of Finland, and it's a country of 1,000 people that is literally covered their island with disc golf courses, and now they're a tourist destination. So it's wildly popular, and so we're not going out on a limb where we're doing something that no one else is doing. This is something the whole world is kind of biting into.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It seems to be growing in popularity around here for sure. And I loved how you touched on that you run programs. I think that that's awesome as well, that you're educating people of what it is and how it works and how they can get involved. I think, even for the schools and the younger generations to see that. I know that my kids are in high school and they've talked about it, what is this? And so, the younger generation are kind of, curious to this new sport. So I think it's fantastic to see, and we really appreciate you coming in and sharing the details with us. And we look forward to talking more about this. So if there's not any other questions, then I'll say thank you very much for venturing out in the cold as well today and sharing this with us.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Take
See ya.
care. I'm not sure what time it is. None of the clocks work. 9:50. Okay, we're good for time. Still here. We'll carry on. So that is it this morning for our delegations, and we will jump into our decision items now. Our first decision item is 9.1 for variance request at 5233 45th Avenue, Lot 5, Block 112, Plan 772, TR, as built shed development permit application DV 22-049. Good morning again, Jarek. And start when you're ready.
So while requiring a decision each, administration will be presenting DV 22-049 for a shed variance and DV 22-051 for a deck variance, agenda items 9.1 and 9.2 together. Subsequent to a compliance certificate request for 5233 45th Avenue, administration received 2 development permit applications seeking to bring existing structures into compliance by requesting a variance. The first application, DV 22-049, for an existing shed on the southwest corner of the property, seeks to reduce the rear setback in an RGen or residential general zone from 1.0 meters to 0.0 meters, allowing the shed to abut the property line. The request is for continuing to provide easier access to the shed by pulling vehicles alongside to load unload and to ensure enough space remains for future potential detached garage plans on site. The property abuts a lane with additional clearance space of approximately 1.5 meters between the traveling aisle and the property line, and the parking pad remains visible to vehicles traveling in both directions as a result. Administration does not view the placement of the shed as a cause for concern and recommends allowing the variance requested. The second application, DV 22-051 for an existing deck at 5233 45th Avenue, seeks to reduce the side setback line from 1.0 meters to 0.0 meters, allowing the deck to abut the eastern property line. Side setbacks are typically in place to ensure emergency services have adequate travel space to reach the rear of the property, and burning structures have a buffer area from neighbors. As the deck abuts the neighboring property and contains privacy backing spanning from the house to the fence, Fire Services was circulated for their concerns regarding the deck. Fire Services expressed no concern as both the principal building's western edge and laneway access to the rear still provide more than adequate space to access the yard. The privacy backing was also not seen as incurring any additional risk for Fire Services that would need to be mitigated. Administration does not view the existing deck as a cause for concern and recommends allowing the variance requested. Both DV 22-049 for a shed variance and DV 22-051 for a deck variance are presented for your consideration and verdict. A decision will need to be made on each application, but may be discussed in tandem or sequentially as council sees fit. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. For those of you that are online and in the audience, Jarek was discussing on the agenda both 9.1 and 9.2. Both are variance requests at 5233 45th Avenue. One is for a built shed and the other as-built deck. Just wanted to make a note as you've referenced both of those, and there is a map up on our screen for both of those. Are there any questions for administration this morning? Councillor McGee?
Tell me why we would have not put these both together. Is it because of the structures that are different? And I would have thought you could just, here's the lot, here's what I want to do.
In regards to, is they're not on the same permits together? Is that what the?
Yeah, it
the
just
question
seems
is?
like there's quite a bit of paperwork for a variance of this degree, and 2 non-statutory public hearings.
So typically, if it's items that are related in the type of variance that they are seeking, so if it was both on the rear property line or if it was a single item seeking multiple variances, they would fall in the same one. Just out of an abundance of caution, it was decided by administration that the public hearings be kept as separate, just in case of any confusion for the public, and that we present them as 2 reports, but that they could be presented by administration as a single item.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions? No, there doesn't seem to be. So what we'll be looking for today is we'll be looking for 2 motions, right? We'll need a motion for the variance request for DV 22-049 and then DV 22-051. So we'll start with DV 22-049, and we'll start, and I'll ask a member of council to make a motion for that one. Councillor Clark, would like to make that motion.
Yep, I will move that council approve development permit DV 22-049 with the recommended conditions as presented.
Thank you very much for that. Is there any comment, question, or debate on the motion? None. So there's a motion been made that council approve development permit application DV 22-049 with the recommended conditions as presented. I will ask all in favor. That is carried, and I'll now ask for a motion for DV 22-051, and that is for the variance permit for the as-built deck. Councillor Evans?
I'll make the motion that council approve development permit DV 22-051 with conditions as presented.
Thank you very much for that. Is there any comment, question, or debate on the motion? None? Then I'll ask, oh, sorry, go ahead, Councillor McGee.
Just, so I'm thinking, I bought the property and then I do a real property report. I see some problems, so I come to the town and I get a variance. So my guess is that if I sell the property, once the variances are in place and accepted by the town, that it's free and clear.
So going forward, what would happen is that if there were any future subsequent changes to land use bylaw, then it would be grandfathered in, as it would have been permitted at the time by the town under the development permit, and that would be on record. So the shed would be permitted as it was at that time, and so in the future, it would be noted that while it may not meet current land use bylaw requirements, if they change at that date, it is still as a permitted structure and able to continue use as a grandfathering.
Right, so you wouldn't expect the new owner to come back to have some explanations, it's done.
Yeah, as long as
no
it's the same
caveats?
structure, yeah.
No caveats on the property or anything like that.
For this instance, the shed, we may have to look at an encroachment agreement because it is abutting or extending, the eaves are extending about 7 centimeters into the road right-of-way. However, that is contingent on the shed development permit being approved by council. If it is not, then it has to be moved and we would not have an encroachment agreement issue.
Thanks.
Perfect, thank you for the question. So there's a motion on the table, and I will ask all in favor. And that is carried. Thank you very much. So I think before we move on to 9.3 and 9.4, we'll have a 5-minute break, just as those two are being presented kind of as with the same person. So we'll have a 5-minute break, and then we will reconvene at 10:10 a.m. And we'll jump back into our decision items, moving into 9.3, our Youth Advisory Committee. Good morning, Lola.
Good morning. So I've glazed over this topic a couple of times in previous presentations, but I want to talk a little bit about it more today. So I'm excited about this moment. As a result of working with the RISE to Action Committee over the past over a year, I definitely think that they proved that youth have a value in decision-making when it comes to community development, whenever it comes to the future of their community. So as a result of that, we are moving towards having a youth advisory committee, a formal youth advisory committee. So what's in your package is a terms of reference and also a bylaw. So in order to propose a committee, a bylaw has to be passed. But I do want to just go over the terms of reference just a little bit first. So the terms of reference, we definitely didn't have to reinvent the wheel because there's many other municipalities in Alberta that I've reached out to who have already established committees who are working effectively and well. So I grabbed, information from other communities. Also, there was that toolkit that I think council had seen in the past that was produced by FCM. So use bits of that, use bits from other communities, and came up with terms of reference. So I just want to go over that just a little bit. So the committee would be a youth advisory committee. The statement of purpose would be that the youth advisory committee exists to foster a relationship between Drayton Valley Town Council and the youth of the Drayton Valley area. This would be accomplished through advocacy, education, and engagement. So their duties and responsibilities would be to act in an advisory capacity to Town Council and to communicate with town administration, community partners on issues relevant to youth and the community. They would conduct relevant research and consultation that addresses current, emerging, and future concerns of Drayton Valley youth. And it would provide a forum to address and discuss concerns that affect youth in the Drayton Valley area, provide regular updates to Town Council on activities,
respond to inquiries, present recommendations, and to raise awareness of issues that affect youth. So the composition and appointments would be comprised of, we'd like to have 2 youth, one from each school division, one from Wild Rose School Division, one from St. Thomas Aquinas School Division. Then 5 community youth representatives between the ages of 14 and 25. So in total, there would be 7 voting youth advisory committee members. Non-voting members would include 1 representative from the Town of Drayton Valley Town Council and the Community Services Department. So I have 2 staff in the FCSS department that come from a background of working with youth and are really excited and keen to work with this committee. So they're anxious to help. And just, there'll be a chair and a vice chair. Subcommittees could be struck if needed. Terms would be for 1 year up to 3 years with a maximum of 6 years. Youth get older, so we'll have to have an end time to that. We're looking at perhaps monthly meetings. And yeah, the rest is just minor details. So as far as implications go, so we would like to offer some sort of reward for their participation. So there is the $3,000 that was presented in the budget presentations. So I guess next steps would be after Town Council were to give first reading to the bylaw, then it would give council the opportunity to discuss, have a look at the terms of reference, and then it would come back to Town Council for second and third final reading, or would they do 2 today?
Yeah, go ahead, Hans.
Yeah, so for council today is first reading to pick up this bylaw, of course, for discussion, and that's basically a possibility for amendments and questions. Second reading is possible today. Administration advises to do third and final reading in an upcoming council meeting to give council the opportunity to go basically back to the community and have conversations for third and final reading later on.
Perfect, okay. So if there's an appetite, we can do first and second reading today and then bring it back then for the third and final. So are there any questions for administration this morning? Councillor McGee?
I have a couple of questions. So we have a youth advisory committee consisting of 7 people. And the rise is part of that, or it's actually we're in the midst of
No,
changing?
so what we decided to do is that the committee will be advertised so that all youth have the opportunity to apply. So including the Rise to Action Committee members, they will have the opportunity to apply as well, but it won't be a matter of just shifting them into this role. It'll be an application process and open up to everyone in the community.
And as you know, Lola, sometimes it's really hard to get people to come out to do these sorts of things. Have you polled at all? And do you think we'll have a problem filling the seats?
Well, we thought that we might have a problem filling the Rise to Action Committee, and we got some really strong commitment from those young people. So they're advising that they think that we can fill those seats. So I think they'll be willing to, help share. We can, take the opportunity into the schools, and so yeah, hopefully we can get those 7 participants without too much difficulty. I think part of it too, by being able to offer something for their time, is definitely a part of it too. So.
And we talk about a monthly meeting. Does that mean that council or the mayor or will be meeting once a month with those folks, or would they meet? Sometimes they may not be ready to speak to council, so they might meet as a group on a monthly basis, but and then over that period of time, say, now it's time we're ready for putting something on the table for mayor and council.
Yeah, perhaps, yeah.
Is that how you see that?
Yeah.
We do have a counselor already appointed to
Yeah, we
this
do.
as well. I believe that's Counselor Gamana.
Right, okay. Yep, I've forgotten that. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. So the intention is you'll do a call out to the 3 high schools and send that out?
Yeah, and the community at large
Okay,
as well, because we know that there's also a number of youth who are maybe at outreach or maybe they're not in school. The age cap also is 24, so.
Yeah. So how do you, when you send this out, what do you all include in it? So like as kind of a, to try to catch them, right? Like, is there, will be compensated, or how do you market it?
Yeah,
Get them interested?
and that's what we did with the Rise to Action Committee, is we did say, there'll be a stipend involved, and, we value your time and, kind of thing, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And it was partially word of mouth too,
okay.
for sure.
Good. I know that I'll be going in with, along with some other counselors into both the high schools, Frank Maddock and HTA, so I can maybe do a little plug there if you want to get involved.
Oh, yeah, that
Yeah,
would be absolutely
If you kind of
perfect.
give me a little bit of information, I'm going.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Send it.
Yeah, we can talk afterwards about the date, but I would also welcome, any of you, if you know a young person who you think would be a great fit for this, absolutely reach out to them as well. So yeah, but all this will happen after third reading.
Perfect. Are there any other questions for administration? Counselor Evans?
So I see the plan is to build a 4-year strategic plan once the group has been established. Is that the plan? Can you give us a rough idea of what the goals are of this particular committee? I also see that they may introduce some subcommittees. I'm just trying to get a handle on what the main thrust of the committee is.
So there's definitely some things that came out of the RISE research that the young people on that committee have identified as priorities. So likely we'll use that, as an opportunity to say, here's some of the things that came out of the RISE research. These are the things, because the RISE research was based on the voices of over 500 young people in the community. So likely, we'll provide them with that information, but then it's going to be different young people, so other priorities might come up as well. So it's kind of hard to say because we don't want to dictate too much, because the important piece of it is this is to listen to them. I know that some of the things that, as Chase Combs had mentioned, mental health was a concern to young people, or access to mental health services. Housing was a concern. Some other things like education were a concern. I think many of the things that, are also things that we're talking about as well. So I think it'll be a nice fit with some of the priorities that we're also talking about. Yeah.
Counselor McGee?
I've always been interested in the youth in the sense of, but when I think of when we were trying to consider putting in a hub, and we used numbers like ages 14 to 24, and when we were having those discussions, is that there's the 24-year-old that's sitting in that chair, and the 14-year-old is going, yikes. You know what I mean? That the spread is really quite large, and when you think about information that we would use as council, 24 would be completely different than a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
you're okay with that?
Yes. Yep, and the Rise to Action Committee, they were a little bit older. However, for succession planning or whatnot, we want to provide the opportunity for younger youth as well. But yeah, all things to be considered when we get the applications in. So applications, because it's a committee of council, then applications will come to town council for approval too, so.
If there's no other questions, I'll ask a member of council if you'd like to give, or make a motion to give first reading, please. I need a motion. Counselor Clark?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that council give first and second reading to bylaw number 2022/18/C Youth Advisory Committee as presented.
Thank you very much. Can we give both, or do we want them as separate readings?
Separate, please.
Okay, so maybe just for first reading, please, Counselor Clark?
Okay, so I will make the motion that council give first reading to bylaw number 2022/18/C Youth Advisory Committee as presented.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, or debate on the motion for first reading? None. I'll ask all in favor. That is carried. Can I get a member of council to make a motion for second reading? Counselor McGee.
I would make a motion that council give second reading to bylaw 2022-18C Youth Advisory Committee as presented.
Thank you very much. Any comment, question, or debate on the motion? None? All in favor? And that is carried as well. Well, thank you very much. Looking forward to getting this committee up and running, and hopefully we have the youth that's knocking down our door trying to get on this committee and getting involved. I think it's important that, they have an opportunity to, to speak to what's missing in the community and, giving their ideas and a fresh perspective. So I think this is a great committee that will definitely reap many years of benefits, I'm sure. And I'm sure lots of ideas will come with it. I know when we've gone out even to the schools and we've heard repurposing of our buildings and things like that, all the amazing ideas, what to put from Starbucks to indoor basketball to what we're lacking and what we need. So it'll be interesting to hear all those ideas as well.
Absolutely.
So we'll continue to move along into our decision items, and we will now move to 9.4, Community Events Grant, fourth quarter.
Okay, I'm just gonna pass out one handout because I see that one thing got missed in the package.
Sure.
And that would be the new information, right?
Yes.
And so what is this information that you're handing out, just so I can? Okay, so this is from the Rotary. Thank you very much. And you'll just speak to this a little bit in your presentation too.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So this is actually a committee presentation. I also have Derek Stearns with me
Okay.
too.
Morning.
So during the October 26th council meeting, there was a request to provide some more information that would help you to make decisions in regards to two of the three applications that were received for the fourth quarter allocation of the community events grant. One of those was the Rotary Club application. They had requested $1,000 for their community needs assessment project. So there was some question about what exactly are they doing. So I did have a discussion, once again with Jeanette Vatter, and she provided some further information just in regards to just to have a look at what they had done last time that they did a community needs assessment. So the last one that they did was in 1999 to 2000. And the top four items that were identified, she said, were seniors, youth, the food bank, and volunteers. Some other items that were identified in their needs assessment were police, health, environment, drugs, alcohol, violence, family, crime, abuse, walking past, stress, parks, hospital, mental health. So as she indicated, they're not sure what may come out of their needs assessment. Because as you can see, the last time there was a number of different things. So she said not all of the items that were identified last time were within the guidelines of their mandate, but what their goal was to find a need in the community that the Rotary Club could then help with. So as the result of the last assessment, the Rotary Club chose to develop the Rotary Trails east of town. So that's been an ongoing project, and it's been a really worthwhile project. So this assessment at this time is, once again, they want to be able to show the community what's needed, and then they will decide on what they can work on then as a result of the needs assessment. So just just for information, I had suggested last meeting that this would be a really good fit for an FCSS grant. So Jeanette Vetter is actually meeting with Jennifer Finn today and to look at submitting an application to FCSS for this project. Just as a committee, we're just not sure that it fits the community events grants. If you look at the enclosed listing of the ones that have been approved this year, there's things like the street party and DV100 and the pumpkin walk, and this has a little bit different of a focus than what's previously been funded under community events grants. So the second, was there any questions about that one?
No, I think maybe just continue. Did you have a question, Councillor Evans? Sure.
So could this not be included under the FCSS grant as opposed to through
Yes.
the community events?
Yes, so that's why the Rotary Club is meeting with FCSS today to apply for an FCSS grant.
Okay,
Yes. However, if council chose to fund it also, they're looking for several places for funding.
right.
But we feel it's a very good fit for an FCSS grant. So they will be applying there.
Okay.
And just keep in mind that this is the last quarter. This is the remainder of the year, the funds, the $3,496.25. And there's only the 2 applicants that we're discussing today as well.
So there was also a request for more information from the Tyler Reed Harrison application for $5,000 to support training. That would support him to attend Western National Slopestyle event. So it wasn't clear, again, if it met the criteria for the Roger Coles Memorial Sports Grant. So I've invited my committee member, Derek Starnes, just to provide a little bit more explanation in regards to this application specifically and provincials and Western finals and all those things, because he's the expert at that stuff.
Expert's a strong word, but thank you, Lola.
Good
Your
morning.
Worship, councillors. So I wasn't here when this was originally presented, but we had approved Tyler for the 3,000, the remaining, basically the remaining, right? The 3,496. He had requested $5,000. Some of that was to go towards provincial competition. The Roger Coles Youth Grant specifically states that it's only for Western Canadians, nationals, or international events. So without breaking it down too far, we said, well, no, we won't give him the full 5 because some of it's for provincials. So we'll give him the 3,496 because he's already qualified. He is going to Western Canadian and national events. So we thought this helps with the associated costs to attend those events. I think the question that council had last time was we had declined one earlier in the year for a similar person to go to events, but the difference we felt was Tyler's already qualified and he's going to these events, which are Western Canadians and nationals. The other person was training to possibly qualify for provincials. So 2 totally different things. First of all, she hadn't qualified to go to provincials. She was hoping to. Second of all, had she qualified for provincials, she still wouldn't be eligible for this Roger Coles Youth Grant. So that's the 2 biggest differences that we felt. And we felt since Tyler's has qualified and he is going to these events, we would help him out somewhat, but not with the full amount that he requested because A, we didn't have that much money, and B, because some of it would be to go to provincials, which doesn't suit the criteria and the policy. So that's where we're at with that, and hopefully that clears things up a little bit. But if there is any more questions, happy to answer.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. I know that I had raised one of those questions just in regards to, I know that this is the Roger Coles Memorial Grant doesn't get a lot of attraction always. And I think that my thinking is we don't see a lot of students or youth applying to this. So it's nice when we do that. It'd be nice if we didn't narrow in so much on those criteria, because I think whether they're qualifying for the training for a provincial or they're actually going, I think is encouraging enough, and it's a success in itself that they're actually where they are. So I look at it as, maybe even, excuse me, changing the criteria a little bit so they're able to access this. I think being, involved in the sports and going above and beyond, whether you actually go to provincials or actually you're on your way there, I think are, they're big achievements. And if we can be helping the students to, get a little closer to their dreams or, obtaining provincials or nationals or something, I think that it's great to be part of that rather than discourage it. And like I said, there's not a lot that apply for these grants, so I think when they do, it's important. And I kind of just base it on, I know when when students are dealing with grants and things like that, sometimes whether it's from, a business organization, a bank or whatever, when they're applying, there's not a lot to the criteria. I think it's just celebrating enough the youth in the community. And sometimes maybe we get them to write an essay instead, right? Like, so maybe it's that they haven't quite qualified for provincials, but maybe we, throw it out and say, council will consider or will consider, the application, it fits a little bit outside of that. But if you can tell us in your words why it's so important for you to be doing this, and what you're going to get out of it. And, just as a lot of these other organizations and businesses do when they're dealing with youth granting. It's just a suggestion. I thought if we could, make them dig a little bit deeper, it might be a little bit interesting too. Go ahead, Derek.
That is a great suggestion. I think the issue with provincials is that at any one time we could have 7 or 8 minor hockey teams, 4 or 5 minor ball teams, a couple of ringette teams, figure skaters, soccer players, all those sorts of people going to provincials. Because lots of times we have multiple teams from minor hockey going to provincials. So I think the reason why that is in there is so we don't have 48 minor hockey parents and kids coming and asking for money to go to provincials.
Okay.
Whereas I guess with the specialized sports, that would be kind of a slippery slope. Where do we open up? Where do we draw the line of, okay, minor ball, we have 3 teams for minor ball going to provincials, but we've got 1 figure skating go to provincials. Do we open that essay up, which is a good idea, but where do we kind of draw the line between sports? Because team sports or versus individual sports, I mean, it could open a lot of doors. Maybe we have a tennis player that we never had really a tennis player. Maybe they're going to some sort of provincials and we want to bump them up because it's an individual sport. They're going, something like that. So, but according to the Roger Coles policy, that we don't really have that avenue. So that's something we could maybe look at moving
Yeah,
forward.
just to maybe encourage, maybe there's a way we can just encourage more applications.
Yeah,
Roland?
and just to note that the policy says nationals or Western, like Western and national competition.
Yeah.
Western
Not-
Canadian,
not
national,
provincial.
and international.
Not provincial, because as Derek says, if it was for provincials, we could have a flood of applications because it's not uncommon to be going to provincials, which I think why the original policy was written, that it be, a step higher than provincials.
Yeah. No, I understand. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Are there any questions, other questions for administration? Councillor McGee?
I think in our discussion last time, it was sort of trying to figure out whether or not a person is going the distance in their sport. And for some reason, it felt like you might want a GoFundMe page or, I got this, a lot of it, it's expensive to get there. And I'd like some help to do that. And our difficulty is that the role of the taxpayer to do that? And I think that's where the questions were arising, and I'm not any clearer on that answer.
I know it's a tough one, right? We really struggle when it comes to these quarterly distributions of funds, I think, right? Yeah, of who fits into the criteria or slot, right? It's only $3,496 that we have left, right? And we only do have 2 candidates that are applying for this.
I mean, if it would make this more clear, we could decide to only accept applications for expenses related to actually going to Western or national competition.
I don't think that helps for me.
Does that not help?
Hans, did you want to add something?
Yeah, thank you. I think it's clear, and administration will take what council has been saying about reviewing and take a good look into our grant process and the criteria, to bring that back to council for further discussion and fine tuning it with what the intent of council is. That includes then potentially, of course, a discussion about what is it that we achieve with this. So we will bring that to a future meeting and we'll sort out how to get that back to council to take a review internally first for administration and then bring that to council with any recommendations or changes that we see, let's say, efficiently and necessary.
Perfect, thank you. That, Councillor McGee?
So the purpose for today, it looks like the recommendation is to accept it as information. I don't know what that means. $1,000 for the Rotary,
Or there's,
$1,000 for
yeah.
Tyler.
I think the recommendation would be not to approve either application right now.
So there's a recommendation based on the criteria and what the subcommittee feels about this. And then, of course, there's alternatives to that where we can accept this as information, we can approve the fourth quarter grant application funding request from either or both, or we can change something. So that's why the decision still lies with us. I know we tried to put it on administration to say, well, you guys help us make the decision and you know, and so the recommendation is there, but we still have the final say in making a motion of where we want to
Right.
see the funds go. And so we know too that if the funds aren't spent, the funds aren't spent. But if something comes up between now and, you know, the end of the year, let's say a group or an organization comes and says, oh my gosh, this is really important, we'd like to get in, is there an opportunity that we could say, well, you know what, we don't have any, you know, funds to give you, but there is money left over in this little pot, can we consider that still?
Yes, I would say yes. So I think the committee's recommendation would be to let the Rotary Club apply to FCSS.
Yeah,
Tyler could come back and apply again whenever he was actually going to
okay,
Westerns.
yeah.
And yes, there would be the 3,496.25 remaining, that if something did come up between now and the end of the year, then, you know, we could, even though it's, you know, not the fourth quarter deadline, if something
There's
came
still
up,
funds in there that have to
there
be
is
spent.
still funds,
Yeah.
and it's November, but
Or we could make a motion to roll it over to the first quarter if we wanted, could we not, Elvira? Yeah,
Yes.
we could, okay.
Yeah, you
So there
could.
is that opportunity when we have those applications that start coming in for the first quarter. If, sometimes you know ahead of time if something comes, you know, and is urgent, then we could consider it prior to the year ending. Otherwise, we could, excuse me, have these additional funds added to the first quarter of 2023 as well. So that is good to know. So now the decision lies in the hands of council. So is there a member of council that would like to make a motion with the information that they have today? Councillor Evans, sure, go ahead.
So just for clarification, is Tyler going to Western and National slope style events? Has he qualified, or is he asking us for funds to train in the hopes that he will end up at the Western and National?
He is
events?
qualified, so the training and all that is leading up to go there. He can't get the training here, so he has to go to Calgary to do the training for those events, but he has qualified for those events, yes.
So the question is whether we should be helping fund that training as opposed to fund the actual, his being at the Western and National.
Right, and that's
events.
what we discussed in between was we probably should have said, you know what, come back to us after the fact, post-event,
Right.
apply post-event rather than pre-event. Because then then you have the actual numbers and we can reconsider it then, but yeah.
Gotcha.
absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted to get it straight in my head, sort of where he was at and what we're trying to accomplish. Thank you.
Yeah, so he can be, we could see that his name appear again in the new year, right? If he's now,
Right, once he's gone
Once he's
to
gone, yeah.
one of these events, he's had expenses associated with that he could submit to us and request money.
yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Did you have another question, Councillor McGee?
The Weyerhaeuser grant was being applied for on the needs assessment through RDN and also Rotary. Has there been a decision made from Weyerhaeuser on that?
no, the Rotary Club nor us have heard back from Weyerhaeuser.
And are you feeling confident in FCSS's grant for the Rotary, that they fit into the criteria there?
They do.
They do fit into it.
Because part of FCSS's mandate is to opportunities to address, to first recognize the needs in the community and then address those. So it does fit FCSS criteria well. Of course, those decisions go to the FCSS board, but it does fit the criteria.
And there's no money left in that funding stream for this year, though, so that would go to next year's?
So the FCSS board meets on December 7th, I believe, to make decisions regarding 2023.
Oh, okay.
Funding applications. We do that in advance of the new year so that checks can go out like right away, first thing in January, so that organizations have their funding early.
So you may see that or we may see that application come in December 7th then to the FCSS?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, so I am needing a motion from council. Councillor McGee.
Madam Mayor, I would make a motion that council accept the community grants fourth quarter update as information only.
Thank you very much for that. Is there any comment, question, or debate on the motion? I'd just like to add a comment saying that even though that this is, a motion has been made to accept as information only, this isn't the end for both applicants, and that there is still an opportunity for both of these applicants to apply, one being will have the ability to apply for the FCSS granting stream, which sounds like they'll have a more successful chance and that fits into the mandate of that. And for the other individual, for the Roger Coles, once he actually goes to the competitions, that he'll also have another opportunity in the coming year to apply for additional, this grant as well, this same grant, right, that he would apply for, he would fit better into the criteria. So like I said, it's not over for either one of them. And would we need to make a grant in order to carry this money forward, or can we just carry it? We can just move it and carry it into 2023? Perfect. Okay, so there is a motion on table there's a motion that council accept the community grants fourth quarter update as information only. And if there's no other question, comment, or debate, I will ask all in favor. That is carried. Thank you very much. Sorry, Lola, I apologize. I know that we always struggle with these granting streams, but I feel confident that we've made the right decision and that we'll see both of these in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving along, 9.5, we have Jarrett coming down again this morning for rezoning bylaw 2022-17D for first reading of rezoning undeveloped land southwest of 46th Avenue and 47th Street to Urban Reserve District. Good morning again.
Yes, good morning again, Your Worship and fellow council members. Administration is currently engaged in a series of concurrent applications pertaining to the lands southwest of the intersection of 46th Avenue and 47th Street, intended on helping facilitate the currently vacant site into becoming something more developable. The result of an ultimately unsuccessful pitch to an earlier council, the site was divided and zoned for a very particular setup that never came to fruition, and as a result has become unenticing for new development proposals, leaving a prime piece of land vacant in the center of the municipality, divided into awkward parcels owned between the town and private parties. Administration is currently in talks with the neighboring landowner over our parcel, Lot 6MR, looking at options for consolidation to better facilitate development of the site. In order to pursue this, two important steps are required to happen concurrently. First, the town will be pursuing a dissolution of the municipal reserve designation on the town-owned parcel in the center of the site. Advertising for this application started last week and will be rolling out throughout the month until a scheduled public hearing and decision date currently booked for November 23rd. Second, regardless of the outcome of the municipal reserve dissolution, a rezoning of all lots from their current zonings to the S-Urb or Urban Reserve District is requested, preferably before year end, in order to assist with consolidation by unifying the zoning and ensure appropriate taxes reflecting the existing use of the land are assessed going forward. To meet this timeline, administration is presenting the first reading of rezoning bylaw 2022-17-D for you today, in hopes of an initial approval to allow for the public hearing and the second and third readings 4 weeks later on December 7th as per policy. Administration will not be pursuing an open house in this instance per policy, as the rezoning is technical in nature and no development plans to present to the public are being proposed. S-Urb, or Urban Reserve, is the placeholder zone for properties awaiting future development. The zone only permits for existing uses to continue, accessory structures to be built, and mounted solar panels on said accessory structures or existing uses if required. As all parcels are currently vacant, administration does not see the change in zoning as affording any additional development potential to the site while consolidation plans run their course. Were the zoning request to be approved, any subsequent development plans would need another rezoning proposal at a later time and be subject to a new round of discussions and public hearing for that proposal. These subsequent development plans and rezoning would also be subject to the open house requirements of town policy, and as such, administration has opted to defer this policy step to that later time. Voting in favor of bylaw 2022-17-D today will allow the rezoning proposal to move forward to later stages. An approval vote will not hamstring council on subsequent decisions of either second and third readings of the same bylaw, nor on the municipal reserve dissolution hearing slated for November 23rd. Administration recommends approval of bylaw 2022-17-D for first reading only and is ready to answer any questions or comments you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions for administration this morning? I think that I would just ask again that, has there been communication with the landowner if there was to be any future development on this land, that rezoning would have to be done again to accommodate what the future development be, and there would be additional costs as well?
Yes, right from the get-go with the discussions, we made note that this placeholder rezoning would not permit any future development plan, so any subsequent development would require its own future rezoning at that time, whether on the owner or whoever may be in possession of the land at that time.
Okay, perfect. So additional costs were communicated
Yes.
then? Okay, perfect. I wouldn't want them to all of a sudden develop and then find out that there was additional costs. So if there's no other questions, we're looking for, oh, sure, Councillor
Just-
McGee, do you have a question?
So when I look at the maps and I see all the red squares, what am I to make of those, that? Maybe I missed it.
So the parcel as itself, it has 3 separate zones in there. There's the commercial general zone, the residential high-intensity zone, and the special park and recreation zone on there. And so each one of those has to be rezoned into the special urban reserve district on there. So the map has been divided to signify each individual parcel with the corresponding zone transfer. So 3 of them will go from commercial general to special urban reserve. 2 will go from high residential high density, and the last one will go from park.
And so what we end up is a parcel of land that you can do anything with, but you got to come to us.
Once consolidation occurs, it will. Until that time, it will still be the 6 separate parcels, but will all be one zone. So that when consolidation happens, there are no issues in regards to where the boundaries are supposed to be and what the zoning is for that master parcel.
I'm not sure what you just said. But so I have a parcel of land that's been rezoned, we set in and now we want to take it back to urban reserve. So it seems to me like I wanted the slate wiped clean. And it's service land, and once we have somebody come forward to say, I get it, I'll build on this, and this is how I'll build, we will have that opportunity. Am I hearing that?
Yes, so what will happen is there's 2 separate regulations that need to be worked around. The first is the towns on the zoning of the land, where you can't have multiple zones on any given site. So in anticipation of a consolidation, we're putting this forward to help ensure everything is the same. The next step is after everything goes through, the applicant, or sorry, the landowner will be approaching land titles if both this bylaw and the municipal reserve are successful. They'll be approaching land titles to consolidate all the parcels together. That's done with the provincial registry there. So until that happens, you will have 6 lots that are all zoned the same. And then once that goes to land titles, they will take those 6 and turn it into one lot.
Understood now. Thank you.
Thank you very much for explaining that. Any other questions? No, then I need a motion, please. Councillor Evans?
I'll make the motion that council approve first reading of the proposed rezoning bylaw 2022-17-D as presented.
Thank you very much for that. Is there any comment, question, or debate on the motion? No, everybody's good. Then I will ask all in favor. That is carried. Thank you very much for that. Moving along to 9.6, disposal of crack sealer. Abid, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This RFP is about the disposal of a crack sealer. This crack sealer, which we have, was purchased in August of 2021 at a price of $73,000 and change. Our Public Works Department thinks that it is very difficult to operate financially. You need 5 people to operate in the summer, and we have a staff of about 11 people. So they cannot spare 5 people for that. It is quite costly. The 50-pound sealant that is used to load in the sealer, they only cover about 10 meters with that, and that cost about $54 for 50 pounds of sealant. That covers about 10 meters. So we can say that maybe it's a lack of expertise. And they have got the quotes from the private contractor that costs about $1.75 per meter. This one cost in-house about $5 and something. So we are proposing that we should sell this, and we contract out crack sealing work through the contract work. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Any questions for administration? Councillor Evans?
So I guess we never should have bought this thing in the end. I understand the challenges in my past life. My previous employer, we had attempted to do our own crack sealing and ended up with mostly summer students there for the particular reason that you pointed out. It's hard to assign that many staff, take that many staff away from other things to have them on a crack sealer crew. It's also has its own special challenges, and it can be quite a dangerous task. Especially if you have people that are not experienced at it, and it goes slow. Yeah, although I'm not crazy that we just bought this and now we're selling it, I have to admit that I think it's probably the right thing to do to contract this kind of work out. It's just not set up for being efficient within a municipal organization in the end. I think we'll be better off contracting it out. I don't know if that was a question or a comment, Madam Mayor, but.
Well, either way, we appreciate it. Thank you. Any questions for administration? Sure, Councillor Clark?
Yes, do we expect that we would get dollar for dollar back, or are we expecting to take a bit of a hit here?
Through the chair, Councillor Clark, as per my knowledge, there's a company, they have already offered $50,000 for this. But my suggestion would be we should go for an open tender. We may get more than that. And since it is new, only sparingly used last year, we may get about maybe $73,000 because the prices have gone up since then. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, if there's no other questions for administration, is there a member of council that'd like to make a motion?
Can I just ask one question? And it goes to Councillor Evans' thought is, so do we not ask the right questions when we're sitting at this table? When these things come before us, and so, for instance, no idea it was gonna take 5 or 6 or 8 people. And, you know, the whole thing that you've just laid out, had no idea that that's the way that was gonna work. And is it because we didn't ask the right questions? Or how do we keep ourselves, you know, better informed and make better decisions?
And thank you, and I'm taking over through the chair this answer.
Thank you, Hans.
So for any project that is new to the town, is that a capital asset or another process of doing, it's always advisable, of course, to ask the operational questions. So in the proposals, it should be clear enough from administration to bring that. If that's not clear enough for council, to ask that big one important question all the time: what's the operational impact? So we cannot speak to the fact, was it clear enough, or how was that in the discussion previous to us being part of the organization here? But that's my comment. Always ask that most important question: what's the operational impact? And with the calculations and what you see in front of you, clearly it's a recommended decision to go with the motion proposed to change this in this case. So thank you for that addition and question.
Thank you. Yeah, I think at the time, I remember when this coming, it was presented as, this is going to save us money, this is going to be an asset to the organization, and, you know, make our decisions based on the information and the questions that we asked. And at the time, I mean, going back, I feel confident that that was the right decision. Now, you know, there's different information, and you've had the experience, and you've had, you know, a run at it, and it didn't turn out to be the way that we initially thought, and the circumstances are unfortunate, right? So sometimes we don't always win them. So this is one of those times, right? So if there's no other questions, then I'm looking for a member of council to make a motion. Councillor Evans, would you like to make that motion, please?
I'll make the motion that council approves the disposal of the crack sealer equipment and approve $50,000 in operating budget for 2023 for crack sealing of roads.
Thank you very much. Any comment, question, or debate on the motion? None? Then I'll ask all in. Oh, sure, Councillor Clark?
So we're approving stuff for the 23 budget here, is what we're doing? Yeah, we probably want to talk about that, I think, before approving it.
Should we adjust the motion to read that we consider 50,000 in the operating budget for 2023 instead of
Rather than
an approval right here?
Yeah. So amending the motion that council approve the disposal of the crack sealer equipment and consider 50,000 in operating budget for the 2023 crack sealing of roads. And then that way the consideration will come when we have budget deliberations that are further, changing the word approve to consider then.
I'll accept that friendly amendment.
Okay, sure. So we've amended that. Do you have that, Pam? Okay, perfect. Good catch, Colin. No, because it was friendly. I know, I'm just trying to think, because our process, I know in the past it would be amended, but I know that now we don't have to amend it because, and I don't remember why, but I remember having this conversation after I think it was a couple councillors had gone to a session at AM and discussed the new procedural and how we were doing things wrong, so. The postpone and the table. But there was also this, we're making a motion on a motion or amending and things like that. So I believe we're okay here with this changing. Yeah, it was just a slip of the tongue for approve to consider. So good catch, yes. There's a motion on the table. Again, the motion is that council approve the disposal of the crack sealer equipment and consider 50,000 in operating budget for the 2023 for crack sealing of roads. That motion was made by Councillor Evans. I will ask all in favor. That is carried. Thank you very much. And we are done with our decision items. We are just coasting through this agenda here this morning, and we'll start to move on to our department reports. When I look at the department report, we don't have the CAO closed under here. So, and we didn't have an addition. Where would you like to maybe have it as 10.3? We could say A, under Community and Recreation Service Department. We'll have yours last, and then we'll go into A for closed, Hans? If that works? Yeah, yeah, we do, so, because there is discussion items in closed, right?
Yes, there are
Yes.
discussion items in the reports for
And
council.
reports, yeah. I'm just not seeing it on here unless I'm missing it, so that's why I'm saying,
That's correct. So your proposal is to do the 10.3 as the council report from Community Services.
I was just wondering, since you're presenting that, if we did a 10.3A, or do we want to do an addition, add an addition here as 10.8 as a CAO brief?
I would see 10.8 as an additional brief, because then I can do 10.3 by
Okay.
strand and have
Sure.
that as the agenda. Thank you.
So 10.8, we're needing to add an addition of a CAO brief closed, and then there'll be a FOIP with that as well. Is there a member of council that would like to approve the addition of 10.8 CAO brief and closed? Councillor Clark, all in favor? Okay, that is carried. And then you'll be able to find that FOIP number, Pam? Okay, perfect. Okay, so moving into our department reports, 10.1, we have Ken, good morning, for your planning and development report.
Morning, Your Worship and Council. Just continuing working collaboratively with the airport on the survey and the power upgrade. We've begun work on some background work for the municipal development plan, the facilities master plan, the land and facilities master plan. The goal is to seek the highest and best use of these town-owned lands and facilities. So what we'll be looking at is what the best use of this land and what future facilities might be needed, or which lands would be needed for these facilities, identify timelines and expiration of existing and future facilities on these properties. This would all wrap up into long-term development alternatives and provide policy in the MDP. And the final thing, as you heard from Mr. Connors this morning, is we're racing to the end of the year to do two processes on the lands behind the IGA there. One is to dissolve the MR and one is to redistrict the lands so that these are ready to go in the new year for the new assessment and for the owners to carry forward their development plans. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Are there any questions for Ken this morning? Councillor Clark?
So Ken, with respect to the airport, we talk about it a lot, and purpose of kind of the field work and the submission to titles, what's the purpose? It's sort of escaping me right now. But what's the end goal there?
The survey requirement, the town leases the land for the airport from the province. And part of their, what they call a disposition lease process in the past used to be, we just had to submit a reapplication with a sketch. They changed that this year to require a survey. And so that's the reason for doing the survey. The survey will have benefits in that it will now replace the sketch with surveyed documents and accurate digital as-built.
Perfect. Any other questions? No, thank you very much for that. We'll continue to move along. Municipal services. 10.2, a bid. Morning again.
Okay, Madam Mayor, members of the council, since the last update, the biggest thing is that snow has fallen and snow clearing is ongoing. It's ongoing in the parks area, it's going on in the public works area. The parks folks, they have hired a new parks labor, and they are being trained. And a design for the Debbie Park has started, like they have started considering what to do in the future. The tender RFQ is going out tomorrow or today. It has been given to Communications Department to do on our website, to float it on our website and social media. So we will be tendering the mulching part we talked about in the last meeting. And Alberta Environment is okay. They have said, go ahead, this is the time to do it. So we are proceeding with that. Our other parks folks, they are completing their trainings, bullying and harassment training. So are the public works folks. Public works is also preparing, have been preparing sign inventory for the faded signs, and straightening of the sign is all ongoing. Utilities, they are doing routine maintenance of the plants. Aeration in cell 4 and 5 has been reinstalled, and aeration in cell 1 and 2 is currently being reinstalled. And this will help with the odor things. Tours are scheduled for November 10 for the Eagle Point Blue Rapids group. And the blower buildings and UV buildings got a fall cleanup. Inventory was completed on distribution parts in stock. With regards to the RFP for the water treatment, wastewater treatment facility upgrades has been issued on APC as of yesterday. So we will see how many proposals come through, and then we will go from there. If there is no budget approved by the council, we will not award unless we have the budget to move forward with that project. With regards to the landfill, day-to-day operation is going on. There is nothing special to report. Design for cell number 4E and 4F, Tetra Tech is working on it, and 60% drawings are expected at the end of the month. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions, Councillor Clark?
Yeah, with respect to the odors, have we had much in terms of complaints lately, or are we kind of, and is that due to our efforts, or is that due to weather, or both? Or?
I think it's both. Some efforts was done. Aeration, we started the aeration process. Plus, the weather has changed. Now it's cold all over. What I've noted in the past, in a couple of counties I've worked, September is the worst month. So the air above, the ground, it starts getting cold. And then when the ordered air start going, it comes back down. And then it stays their way. And now it's cold everywhere. It's not going anywhere. So it's staying within lagoons. That's what we came up in my last job over there. Anyways.
Thank you very much for that. Any other questions, Councillor McGee? Oh, sorry.
So we've had our first snowfall.
Yes.
How'd we make out?
It's good. It's snow clearing is ongoing. That's my understanding. Parkway is engaged also to do the main left, northwest quadrant, wherever they have been doing in the past. And our folks have been doing the internal roadways, and they will be working as per our policy. They will keep on doing it. That's
So generally, from your point of view, the citizens should be happy or reasonable.
Oh, I haven't heard any complaints.
I know. I just, so if you feel comfortable with the team, everybody was ready, started the engines.
Yeah, they are excited, and when I met before the snowfall, they were all looking forward to it. And although it's a snow, but but they were ready and they were at it. And I haven't heard any complaints since that.
Yet, it's too early in the game, and you're fairly new, so
Yeah.
you'll get used to the community yet.
Thank you.
We're not always yet happy with the snow. Yeah, go ahead, Hans.
So, thank you, Chair. Basically, it's good to address again for the community. We have, of course, the service portal. So the request portal is there for the community to reach out when they really have issues at certain locations for the snow removal related. Then use that. We can track, we can address things basically immediately, but in a good fashion. So everybody should be able to reach out through the request and the service portal that we recently introduced.
Yeah, that's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Councillor Evans?
Just a couple of things. Last year, we looked at whether there was any opportunities in some areas to clear but stack the snow. The big thing about our snow removal is opening everything up as quickly as possible. So I guess I'm just requesting that you look at whether there's some opportunities. And I know that I saw that in places they'd stack the windrow to the side of the road, which I think is great to come back and pick it up later. You know, I'll give you a for instance, down past Cal Tire all the way down to the intersection there at the highway. We have a lot of room along the south side of that road. I think there would be an opportunity to consolidate much of that snow along the north side in that extra lane we have without causing undue traffic issues, sight lines, that kind of thing. There's not a lot of areas. I realize that we can stack that stuff up. But I think anywhere we can take advantage of that, get the areas opened up, and then return once we've picked up the windrows that need to be picked up, you know, right away. That just might free us up some time and ease up those long shifts, et cetera. So all I'm asking is that have a look around, see if there's an opportunity to roll that snow out of the way off the bat, and then come back at a later time and pick it up. I have a quick question about the RFP for our wastewater.
Yes.
Treatment going forward. Have we? Is it pretty much wide open as far as the process that we're looking for, or have we stipulated a process within that RFP that we want?
All right. So basically, it's open. It's wide open. Anybody can come with a proposal. Alberta Environment has given some target treatment targets. So first of all, you may be aware why we are doing this, because it is Alberta, not the Alberta Environment, but it came from federal government. They have changed the ammonia, nitrogen, and ammonia, nitrogen, and phosphorus targets. Since we are releasing our effluent into the North Saskatchewan River, it has become more critical, and it is more sensitive. So the feds came up with this new targets. Alberta Environment didn't have those. Now they want to impose through to us. So what we have said in the RFP, what I've seen, it was prepared by our consultant. And I have reviewed it, and I had some question. I got the clarity, and so we have issued. it's open, anybody can come with their technology and propose that in order to eliminate those nutrients and meet those targets of CBOD and TSS and everything, they can propose, we will review it with the consultant and we'll see what makes sense. My other take would be that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. If northern municipalities, like for example, Cold Lake, they have gone through the whole process of piloting and everything. If their technology is working for the winter zones, winter conditions, and they have the same kind of targets to meet, then why to go through we can take that technology and use that. Or if there is a cheaper technology out there, we will see how it goes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we weren't keeping our focus too narrow, and we're open to any proposals out there, of course, after review and acceptance,
Yeah.
if you will. Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure again that we didn't specify this is the 2 or 4 processes that we would consider. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect, thank you for that. Okay, oh, one more question. Go ahead,
So
Councilor
back
Clark.
to odor complaints. So we talked about the fact that, yes, we're on it, we're going to do some things. Have we communicated that we've done some things and that we're monitoring it, and that, due to weather, we expect the issue to die down? Potentially it could come back in spring potentially, or kind of give people a sense of the fact that, yes, we're on it, we've done some things, and then what to expect, I guess, going forward.
So, Chair, thank you, Councilor Clark. First of all, I'm new here, so it's only been two weeks. Ever since I've been here, I haven't heard any complaint about the odor. It looks like it is under control, but certainly we will communicate, and we'll communicate that we are doing. The aerators are being reinstalled. They were not there before. They are reinstalled. And then we are looking into the new technologies. And once we have those processes going on, that will take care of the odor as well. And in springtime, we will again reiterate, it's a good point. Yes, we will communicate.
Yeah, and I guess we did communicate. I guess my point is just, we're good at doing things and moving on like we've talked about, right? And not kind of circling back and making sure that we've touched base with the people that originally were complaining about odors. So it's just kind of letting the community know what we're doing, right?
Oh, sure. We will do. Thank
Or
you.
what we've done, yes.
Yeah, what we have done. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we always talk about the communication, right? It's important.
It's important.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your report this morning.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Moving along to 10.3, Community and Recreation Services Department Council Report. Hans.
And I'll invite Lola to the microphone.
Hello again.
Hello.
So there's lots of exciting things on the list for community and recreation services. Drayton Valley and District FCSS, the Canada Day Planning Committee, has posted an RFP for the 2023 Canada Day event. The deadline for the RFP is January 2nd, 2023. So the committee is really excited to hear about all the new and innovative ideas that could then become Canada Day next year. Service Canada will be offering an information session for seniors on November 30th at the Rotary House. This will be covering topics such as Canadian Pension Plan, Old Age Security, Guaranteed Income Supplement, and Allowance for Survival Benefits. So this is really good, especially for folks who are preparing to retire. Staff have been over to the Wishing Well and will do so once a month. Omniplex Mackenzie Conference Center, registration for the spin class is completely full. Lots of usage of TotalWorks Fitness Center. curling season has started and it's in full swing. Both Jingle Balls are completely sold out, and they said this is the first time in history that they've been sold out before November. 25 to 30 people attending the Live 55 program. And senior skating is available for use. Park Valley Pool, November lessons are all full. The Junior Lifeguard Club will be having its competition November 26th in Hinton. The indoor rock climbing wall has been installed at the main pool at the Ricochet Oil Corp Aquatic Center, and the main pool will start being filled on November 1st.
Wow. November 1st?
Well, which is past now. Yeah, so it was, so that it's full.
So it should be full.
It should be full.
Should be full.
Yeah, these reports are a little bit
Yeah.
off. Community services, at the time of the report, 81 different people had used the shelter pods since the opening in June. In the month of October, there were 255 heads and beds or shelter nights provided. We were invited by the government of Alberta as previous recipients of emergency funding for the Community MAT program to then reapply for shelter funding this year. We were successful in that application. We will be receiving provincial funding around shelter for a period of 1 year, which is exciting news because in the past, that funding has always ended at the end of March. So the funding agreement will be dated November 1st, 2022 until October 31st, 2023. So that's really exciting. We've received one proposal in response to the RFP for a daytime shelter program that will be coming up on November 23rd council meeting. The urban housing program has some availability right now. Recreation, the town of recreation survey will be finalized at the next recreation committee meeting. A pickleball group has found a space for the winter months, and the triathlon organizing committee met on October 31st to discuss and determine what type of triathlon Alberta sanctioned event could take place in 2023, if any.
And that is your report.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions this morning for Lola or Hans? Councillor Evans? Sure.
Lola, so I see Community Services Department will coordinate support services to be available within this daytime shelter.
Yes.
So will you have a staff member there, or will the folks who are operating the shelter simply have the contact information to give to the users of the shelter so they can get a hold of you folks for those services? I'm just wondering how that process is going to work. It looks good that Community Services Department will coordinate support of these, but I'm just wondering what that support looks like.
So what our goal is with that is this population is very difficult for organizations to serve, to provide supports that could perhaps address those needs that are causing them to be homeless to begin with during the daytime, because folks often don't have a phone. They don't maybe know what time it is in the day. So it's difficult for them to make appointments, keep appointments in various offices, including ours, including Addictions Mental Health, including Primary Care Network, medical offices, all those things. It's really difficult for them to make appointments, keep them, and get to those services. So should we have the opportunity to have a full-time, like a day shelter or a day program where folks will be, our goal is to coordinate all those services, including FCSS staff, including Addictions Mental Health, including all those things, to then come into the shelter for appointments. The goal is to have space provided for that, and I think it'll be a milestone in order to start providing folks with the services and address those issues.
Yeah, that's exactly why I asked the question. Because
Yes.
if you're just telling them, phone this number, go to this place, you're not going to have much success. I
Yes.
think you do need some representation, at least there, some of the time, to, directly manage that. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad to hear that.
Because right now, what we are doing is saying, go here, go there, and they're not making it there. So as far as FCSS staff goes, the goal would be to have someone there once a week in-house. You're welcome.
Thank you for that. Counselor McGee?
So we're hitting temperatures of -27, -30, that range. So what's happening this week with our folks that are unhoused? Where are they going?
At nighttime, they're going to the shelter pods. In the daytime, I'm not sure.
Library for one, which is not really the right place, but but they need to be somewhere. And are we not tracking them at all? Or are we just sort of, we don't know? Is that a good answer? Not from you, but is that a good answer from us? We don't know where they're going. So at 9 o'clock, you're gonna punch me out the
Well,
door.
I guess what I can say is there's definitely been reports of that they are in foyers of a variety of different places. As Doug just mentioned, library they're coming to. They've been in the foyer of some businesses and some of our own town facilities. We do have reports of that, but as far as being able to say exactly where all the people, like every person is going from the pods in the morning, I can't say, but they're finding places in the daytime where they probably shouldn't be.
Okay.
And Hans, did you want to add something?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, if I can. So basically, of course, without a provision for daytime for this, let's say, target group, the locations where they go is the same what has been, of course, over the past years. They have their activities during the daytime that they do. They have certain things where they go. In the colder time that we see right now, they come to the same locations that we've seen in the past. So for instance, the library, so we hear that, or certain locations where they stay warmer in close vicinity to buildings or to certain businesses. So they go to the same locations that we've seen over the years. A daytime shelter or program will provide a new opportunity. So at that moment, of course, we know better where they are, but they are doing now the things that they have been in the past. The emergency shelter, if we talk about the cold snap temperatures during the daytime as well, we haven't reached that threshold yet where the emergency shelter will start up. But right now, the population basically does the same thing that they have done in the past. And we hear that, of course, though there's no specific tracking on that.
So do we have a policy in place that if there's a certain temperature for a certain length of time, we react?
Thank you for that question. So the emergency, so when we are going to an emergency situation, policy or directive, a guideline is a -30 daytime temperature, so wind chill or the regular temperature, so -30 daytime temperature. So we are reaching that now during the nighttime closely, but not during the full 24 hours, of course. But there's that trigger, and we will be ready when that trigger is being reached, of course, to respond in an emergency way.
So the emergency way might mean the arena, Omniplex, those kinds of things?
I know that emergency services, in this case, we do have another option, locations for straight away. But if there has to be, let's say, pulled all the stops, there are opportunities, but we have other means to do that when that trigger is reached, to make sure there's a warm place to stay for that moment without, let's say, additional services, of course, but just for the safety of our community members.
Yeah. Councillor Evans, another question?
Yeah,
Councillor Clark?
just to that point, I think, so Joey Chirpin, I think is administering sort of the emergency side of things. Like if it gets to that temperature, he kicks in and he kind of manages that. So
That's our emergency management
yeah.
team.
not necessarily, it's in conjunction with these guys, but he's kind of running that show.
Thanks, Colin. Councillor Evans?
So, you have, should the proposal be accepted, the program will start no later than December 1st. I guess my concern is that this, it seems like we're late to the party here as it is. You kind of have an out there should the proposal be accepted. If we don't accept the proposal, we just going to kind of keep limping along here. I guess what I'm looking for is at what time can we let the library know that there is another option for these folks, and we can start chasing them out of not only the library, but the businesses that they're trying to keep warm in. Are you feeling confident that we'll have something in place for December 1st? Again, it's frustrating on I think council's behalf that we didn't get this rolling much sooner. And it seems like we need to be in the middle of a pretty severe cold snap, and we're still trying to put this together. So I'm just wondering how you're feeling about that. Is December 1st realistic? And do you think that that's going to be the date we have options for these folks?
Thank you, Chair, and through to Councillor Evans and the rest of council. So this process, of course, of a daytime solution for this group of people that need services as well is, of course, new. So it's something that's been in the process to develop first. So it wasn't related specifically to the cold for sure, which, of course, at the moment triggers a little bit of urgency in the sense of where people go during the daytime/nighttime. So this process and the program has been in development. We've, of course, looked at funding. We are happy that we are, let's say, almost spearheading something new for this funding. And it takes some time. And we see, of course, with the RFP process that we have one particular proposal that we are still, let's say, very hopeful for that it will be successful. Even though it's late, they indicated they can still pull it off when a decision is made on the 23rd. Because, of course, we talk about the program itself as a decision by council, but also location. So that means, yes, it feels, of course, late in the game, but we are ready to roll, and the temperature does give a little bit of another priority to this, but we are faithful that we're going to roll something out that will help and support this portion of the community.
And it is a community effort. It doesn't just solely lie with the town of Drayton Valley, right? There are the groups and organizations that have been putting together a plan. I know that they had groups had come previously in the past, and we had said, we need a business plan. We need a proposal that we can take that forward, right? To make sure that we're setting whoever's going to be leading this up for success, right? So it sounds like there may be a successful candidate there. And I think that those conversations aren't going to just start on the 23rd. They're behind the scenes happening, right? So we can be talking about it a little bit more too in order to kind of speed things up as the temperatures have dropped. Winter always comes like, I don't know, we know it's coming, but all of a sudden it's like it gets here and temperatures are cold, and then we're surprised that it's so cold. I guess maybe it was so nice that we thought we had a little bit more time maybe, and apparently we don't. But hopefully we'll be able to meet that deadline of December 1st and push things forward as well. Well, thank you very much, and we'll continue to move along through the department reports. There is no Protection and Emergency Services or no Corporate Services and Finance report this morning. So we'll move to 10.6 to Growth Services report. Good morning, Luke. That is you. You thought you had a couple more minutes? I skipped right over to you.
Good morning, Your Worship, and fellow your councillors.
Good morning.
I'll start with something that's not in the report that we submitted. I just think that it's important for all of us to be aware about I always keep talking trends in the economic environment. Inflation for 2022 and recession for 2023, I think we need to be aware of this. The deputy chief economist of ATB Financial is forecasting a 3.0% dip next year, going from 5% this year. And the only reason why it's staying at 3% is because of it's being buoyed by commodity prices, mainly oil and gas. Also, the senior deputy governor of the Bank of Canada, Carolyn Rogers, she's warning that getting back to 2% inflation, which is where we were before, is not going to be an easy task. And it's going to take some time. So part of the impact on this is the fact that there is a decrease in demand for housing, except for affordable housing. And on that particular regard, I'm happy to mention that we are in conversations for our community with a developer, out of province developer, to explore the possibility of building affordable houses on town land. So we're just in the discussion phase. Also, Alex Grassino, who is Manulife's head of North American macro strategy, is forecasting that the recession will go perhaps into the third quarter of 2023. He expects the entire Canadian economy to contract by about 0.6%. So we need to note that without lower inflation, we're not going to be seeing any restraint from the Bank of Canada with respect to interest rates rising. So we could be expecting some more of that next year, which is going to impact the economy. So that's a little bit of additional information as we move forward with our strategic plans. I'm happy to confirm, as council is aware, that we completed the economic development and the education strategic plans, which have been submitted to you. And we're just in the process now of getting the digitalized version of that settled so we can have council, Your Worship, and fellow councillors with full access to the actual digital part of the program. I'm also happy to mention that just recently we had some meetings with Community Futures, and we've been talking with them about supporting us next year and helping fund the career fair and a trade show, which we want to hold at the CETC. And we want to capture businesses and stakeholders and also residents from peripheral communities as well. So as I may have mentioned before, Kalmar, Brazil, Entwistle, and so on. So that meeting went very well, and they have pledged that they want to be a partner with us next year. I'm also happy to mention that as far as the CET is concerned, we just concluded some discussions with an organization called MyTax, which is a federally funded institution, and their main focus is technology, innovation, and incubation. So what they do is they provide us with they create partnerships with different universities across the country. So anywhere, at any university across the country where there is a fit for a technology project in our organization, they will co-fund with us through that respective university and bring the student to us. But these are generally postgraduates and postdocs, PhDs and postdocs, particularly in the research and technology side. So we just started discussions last week with them, and we're hoping to be able to mature that into a concrete project for the CETC come next year. So just so that you understand, MyTax is sort of like the Community Futures of the technology world as far as research and development is concerned. I know that there's been some past interest on the rural renewal stream, and that application is it's been tendered to the Department of Labor. There's some fine tuning happening right now. We will be in that intake for January of 2023. Unfortunately, we missed I think the October deadline. Don't recall the reasons why, but that application is moving forcefully forward. You are also aware that we had 5 new businesses established in the community in the month of October. And we're just about bracing for a launch with a project management customer relationship tool that will enable us to have a historical record of all our dealings, our collaborations, our commitments that we make with the business community. This tool that we're implementing from the 1st of January of next year is intended to give us the ability to be more consistent, to be able to follow up, to deliver on our commitments, and to have a historical record of everything we've done with individual businesses in the community. So I think that concludes my report.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions this morning for Luke? Councillor McGee?
I see we have 5 new business licenses were issued in October. So the Matador Hotel it's been there, but what are they opening up, or what's going on with them?
Great question that I'm not able to answer, but probably I can ask.
Can you just come to the microphone, Jarek? Thank you. I know we need a microphone to be handing around.
Thank you. So the applicants have already applied in advance. They want to start operations of the motel again. Where they are at currently, though, is they're still seeing the extent of renovation work that needs to occur, so they haven't set an exact opening date at this time. Depending on the work that needs to be done, they may need to pursue further development permits as well. So they've been a bit early in the process, but they've submitted their business license application.
Okay, so if I close down my business and then I take the boards off the windows, I have to apply for all of that, or can I just open the door? Can I just open the door and go back to my motel business? Is that a difficult?
It depends on the extent of what needs to be done.
Right,
If
in the
there's any sort
renovations.
of building permits or the like there as well. If everything is A-okay and ready to go, it has been a permitted use for the site and it continues to be, so they would be able to. But if there needs to be changes, that needs to go through the whole development permit and building permit process.
And new owners.
Oh, new owners. Okay, well, that's a big sign. Okay, and liquor to go, am I driving it around, or do I have a new building that I'm?
So that is part of the strip mall on 50th Avenue that's currently under construction. So again, same thing. They've been very eager to get their business license, but still well ahead of opening up.
Okay, good, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for answering those questions.
Welcome.
Any other questions this morning for Luke or Jarek?
Through your worship, I just want to add something to Councillor McGee.
Sure.
So, in fact, for everyone in general, this is something that the customer relationship management system that we're building will be able to help us track historically. So the questions you were asking would be answered within that system. Thought I should just share that with you. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Moving along to Communications Department report now, 10.7.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. I'll be brief
Good
this
morning.
morning. As I'm sure you guys are all aware, our biggest thing that we've been working on the last few days has been snow removal. We've been working very closely with Billy and his team to ensure that the public are aware of the activities that are going to be going on, maps are going out, and we're connecting daily to ensure that the community is getting the most up-to-date information. And So yeah, that's been taking up a fair bit of our time. And we're also continuing to post our changes to our curbside collection, because I know, myself included, I have been forgetting. So we want to make sure that the residents are continually being reminded of those changes as well. In addition to that, we've been posting some advertising for snow haulers, advertising the TIP program, e-billing options. We are starting, of course, to work on our information that'll go out to the public for our budget, so we'll be paying close attention during our upcoming budget deliberations. And then just our usual stuff, our multicultural posts, employment opportunities, posting information about the four-way stop at 43rd and 43rd, weekly town page updates in the newspaper, daily social media management, messages on the electronic sign, and just our regular updates to our website. So if there's any questions.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions for Jen this morning? Just noticing on Facebook, so will you be posting, like here it says, snow removal activities for today, and then it's wonderful, it says a little brief of what's happening and then shows a map. Are you going to be kind of putting that map out every day as the priorities in the snow removal changes, or?
Yeah, wherever possible, because I know it myself as a longtime resident, when we start putting out notices that say 43rd or 57th or what, I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
A map is very helpful.
It
So
is.
we make sure that we're putting that out wherever possible. And when we're talking about priority 1 or 2 or whatever, again, with the map, just so everybody is very clear about what that means. So if you're on it, please move your vehicles.
Yeah, no, it looks great. I like how you have the little blurb and then speak to where it's happening, what time, the routes, and then show the little map. I think that's great for people to visually see. And thank you for reminding about the garbage as well pickup. I completely forgot this week. I think it's going to take a bit of time between the four-way stop that I'm still seeing people go through and the pickup of the garbage. Will take us a bit to get used to new things that happen. Any other questions this morning for Jen? Nope, we're good. Okay, well, thank you very much for your report. So we're moving along. What we'll do now is we'll jump into, before we go into close, we'll jump to our council reports and then wrap everything up so then administration can go. Did you have another question, Rick?
Yeah, just for Public Works, if I can, something that I'd forgotten about. Is there any news on the tie-in from the water plant downtown here, the multiple pressure reducing valves that were also included in that project? Up till this time, it's budgeted for this year. We budgeted the money. I was doubtful that it was going to get done this year. It's getting pretty late, but council has been told that, oh yes, it's going to get done. So I'm just wondering where we're at, or if you could look into that.
Good question.
Thank you very much. Through the chair to Councillor Evans. I heard about this pressure reducing valves. I heard that consultant is working on it. Shelley is away this week, but I will certainly follow up on that and get back to you.
Okay, yeah, an update would be nice. Again, we've been told it's going to happen this year, but realistically, I can't see them rolling a main all the way downtown here and installing some 10 or 12 PRVs before the end of the year. I'm assuming it's a project we're going to have to roll over.
Yes, I will follow up on that and update the council.
Thank you.
Do you think that that could be still done in the winter if it was all to be, or no?
I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, then you're dealing with frozen fill, and in the spring you end up with a real mess. I mean, there may be an opportunity to look at putting in some pieces of it where some of the pressure reducing valves are going to go. That's a kind of a more limited excavation, but as far as that main, I would say spring. I would be very surprised if somebody took it on through the middle of winter.
Okay. Yeah, we look forward to that update then.
You will do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move to council reports, starting with Councillor Clark.
Yeah, really the only thing to chat about is the homelessness forum. We're carrying on with that. We've had good participation up to this point. We had another meeting this week. The main topics really were the RFP that's been sent out and discussion around that. Discussion around the fact that we got some funding, exactly what that looks like, we don't know yet, but we did talk about that. And then lastly, just reaching out to other municipalities in an effort to collaborate regionally, as well as potentially hopefully get a rural perspective on homelessness as opposed to kind of those urban centers, dominating the provincial government's offices. So that's the intent with that, and that's all I have.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor Evans?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I may be repeating myself on a couple of these things. But, of course, attended the workplace harassment training. I think those are always worthwhile training opportunities. The Girl Services Review, our priorities and planning session there, which I thought was worthwhile and gave us a good direction moving forward that I think we're all behind as a council. I missed a budget meeting on the 4th, but I did get a chance to review all those documents, so I'm aware of it. And other than that, just have had a few conversations with residents, mostly neighbors and folks along my street, just they're sharing some concerns about the snow removal, et cetera. So I've kind of been of the mind and have let them know, let us take a crack at it. We think we have a good plan in place. I know we have a bunch of committed people to make sure that it does get done, and let's see how we're doing after this first bout, and if we need to tweak it a bit, we will. I think that's about it for me right now. Thanks.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor McGee?
Two things, the retreat and planning session and the team building group that came in, I would say, as Councillor Evans suggested, I thought it went really well. I do think that we've got a great team, and as we develop over this next year together, that we will meet some of those things that we are struggling with, and so I look forward to that. Lastly, November 19th is the International Men's Day. I sent around a little piece around free pizza at the library at 1 o'clock. It's meant to get a conversation going with men particularly, because men don't talk. And right now there's very little uptick because men don't do those things either. So we're hoping that with some push, that there may be a few people that actually come down and have a conversation and have a piece of pizza. 1 o'clock, November 19th, the library.
1 o'clock, November 19th, the library. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. And for my report, I had the opportunity to travel with our CAO to Rocky Mountain House, and we had a lunch and a visit with Ochese First Nation, Clearwater County, Rocky Mountain House. And it was nice just collaborating, talking a little bit about our issues and some of the similar, issues and concerns that we face as rural communities. And the intention to help advocate for a road to be paved out by the Ochese First Nations location there. I guess they've been trying to get this road paved for 20-some years, and there's been quite a few fatalities and accidents on this road. So we will do what we can to advocate and help support that, and to also continue meeting with our neighbors that surround us. I think we talked about collaboration and supporting one another, so it's important to be meeting with them and just discussing where we can be advocating even to the provincial government together on certain things. I also had a meeting again with ALC, and that was in regards to our childcare, the national childcare proposal that will be going to the province and what we can be negotiating for a price there. I also attended the poppy presentation the first poppy presentation at the Legion last week, which is always nice, with our MLA Mark Smith and the Reeve and the Legion members there. I had the opportunity to attend the pumpkin walk that EPBR and I think Aim for Success and the Pembina Nordic Ski Trails put on out there. Fantastic. There must have been, oh my goodness, 1,000 and some people, and the cars were lined up all the way down that Range Road. And it was amazing to see all the people that turned out and all the groups and organizations that got together and helped. Weyerhaeuser was there, and everybody just really pulling together as a community and celebrating. The weather held off and was beautiful still, and pumpkins were lit up all over the trails. So another success. A big thank you to all of them that were able to organize this and make it an amazing evening for our community. We had an opportunity to do a little bit more strategic planning and dig deep of where we want to go for the next 3 years and try to keep on track. Just some visioning for the next 3 years that is left in this term for council, as well as the 10 and 25 years that lies ahead of us when we're looking at capital projects and infrastructure, sustainability, and things where we want to see our community go, a sustainable way of how we're going to get there, and talking about our assets. So lots of fun stuff that will continue in every day, as well as our budget meetings that we've been having. We've had several budget meetings, and we have a few more coming up. And just want to say, Tom had talked about mental health for men. I just want to say, if you're struggling or you're not struggling or you know somebody's struggling, make sure that we're just checking in with one another and just, maybe just giving somebody a tap on the shoulder and saying, how's your day going? Or looking for signs or being more aware or going for a coffee. And we're going into the snowy season as well. And patience maybe starts to wear a little bit thin as drivers. And it takes us a little longer to get to and where we might need to go in icy conditions. So just be a little bit more kinder and a little bit more patient, and maybe even a little more patient with our snow crews. They're doing the best job that they can. And if there's times when we struggle, we can have those conversations and push where we need to push. Otherwise, just ask for a little bit of kindness and patience as we head into the winter months. It's going to get colder and a little bit more snow out there, but I welcome all the snow. I love it. And that is my report. So that wraps up our council reports today. And we will, I think before we break for lunch, we'll just quickly finish up with council items. Are there any council initiated items that anybody wants to discuss this morning? Nope. What about what's happened this week? Various thoughts and ideas. I know we kind of get those out as the meeting sometimes goes, and if there was anything pressing, any emails or phone calls that you've received that you want to talk about here, this is where we want to talk about them, as well as roundtable discussions. I know Councillor Evans had brought up some concerns with the RFP and the warming center and things like that, and hopefully those conversations will continue today, and they'll keep continuing as December 1st approaches us, and we'll hopefully be able to even come up with a solution prior to that date and figure out where our most vulnerable population is going to be spending not only the evenings but the days as well. And if there is nothing else from council or administration, then I think what we'll do is we will break for lunch at 12:01 p.m. And then when we come back, it will just be council and our acting CAO, and those that are needed, that will move into a closed session as well.